Okay, so while the Moment gauges are being made, in the meantime, I've been trying to figure out how to figure out the lighting of the needles, because the standard 944 needles are just thin pieces of metal. So I thought about using some Porsche gauges, maybe just ripping some needles off a 911 or something. Moment actually has this gauge needle lighting kit that they offer, and so I'm trying to figure out how I can make this work. And so I actually have all the original gauges from my 83 car. So I decided to pull it apart and just get practice of, yanking the needle off the shaft there and trying not to break it. And I hopped on CAD and I started modeling basically the needle itself and the cap cover. And I started kind of screwing around with the idea of, well, if we can print it in like a translucent material and just illuminate it using one of those gauge lighting kits, or just sticking an LED in there and running it through the gauge face, this should work. And so I don't have the materials on hand, but as a proof of concept, I printed out one of the caps and I stuck the old needle on there just to see how it would look if you just lit like the top of the needle, and it looks okay. Obviously this is way too bright and it doesn't carry the light all the way through. And so one thing that I needed to do is I need to go back and add that little kind of spacer on there. I added it on the new needles themselves, and so you should still be able to fit a weight underneath there. And I printed it in this glow-in-the-dark filament that I have, because it's all that I have, just to see if it would transmit the light very well, or fit, at least as a proof of concept, just to see if if everything fits and plays nicely. And it actually does. Doesn't look half bad. I need to make a couple adjustments to the actual cap itself. I think I can make it a little bit deeper and maybe fillet it a little bit. And I think this is really going to work if I get some proper translucent material here. So these are just some test shots of the needles that I designed with the caps that I designed, using the glow-in-the-dark needle and mounting the LED on the top. So basically in between the cap and the back weight balance of the needle, that's where the LED sits. And that looks pretty good. Doesn't look half bad. Again, the glow-in-the-dark doesn't carry the light very well, but in these photos, I redid it with the LED sitting under the needle, so being lit from the gauge face, basically, like how the Moment gauges would sit, and this is the result. So I think it looks pretty good. It's definitely promising, and so I think the next step is going to be to get some translucent red filament and try it again, and hopefully maybe move forward with either doing like a small PCB and figuring out how to route the wires so that it doesn't interfere with the speedometer and the stepper motor, basically. So yeah, but anyways, while I'm screwing around, I figured I should at least show you guys what I'm up to, and maybe someone out there can do a better job. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one.